All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Y'all are at the last session post-lunch, and you're still smiling, so that's a good sign. I'm Jessica Holloway. I'm an innovation coach with Hamilton County Schools, and I'm so happy to be here today with Abbey.
Yes, I'm Abbey Sanders. I teach for Murfreesboro City Schools, and I'm a third grade teacher at Overall Creek.
And we're going to talk to you today about the TSIN STEAM HUB. And if you didn't know, now you know, and you'll be able to go and share that with your colleagues. So first thing, what is the TSIN STEAM HUB?
So this resource, who doesn't love a good resource that's already made for teachers? Whoop, whoop. This resource came about during COVID and shutdown. And during COVID and shutdown, we created this resource that we're going to explore today. So we hope that you find it very useful. We're going to brainstorm some ways that you can use this resource as we go throughout the session.
Yeah, and like Abby said, originally this was created by teachers for teachers when we all went into that emergency remote learning, at-home learning situation. But TSIN continued that work into providing just great optional hybrid resources that you could continue to use to support learning at home. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you have a device, it is going to help you to be able to access these resources. We really did design this session for you to learn by doing. So if you have a mobile device, that works. If you have a laptop, that's probably even better. So I'm going to give you just a few moments to go to this website. It's tsin.org/Marie Curie Week. And so that's tsin.org/Marie-Curie-Week. Another way you can get there, if you go to tsin.org, go to resources, drop down menu to TSIN STEAM HUB, and then if you go to their index, then you can go to the M section and find Marie Curie in there. The resources are set up with the same structure. You have a Monday, a Maker Monday, a Wonder Wednesday, and then a Future Friday. And so we're going to kind of take you through a journey and give you some glimpses into those experiences as we move through the presentation. So the first thing is I want you to close your eyes and picture a scientist. What do they look like? What are they wearing? Now, did you see someone wearing a lab coat? Okay. So many scientists do wear a lab coat. Even back, our historical and back in the past, scientists wore lab coats. But the thing is that not much has changed about lab coats over the years. So in our Maker Monday, we are going to learn about lab coats and then figure out a way how we can improve upon those lab coats moving forward.
Our design is geared towards women pediatricians. We decided to do bright colors, add them to the coat, and do colorful patterns.
So what you can do is you can write down all of your notes on this rocket book, and then you can scan the QR code and it'll show up on your phone.
The Lab Coat Reinvention Challenge showed me that I do not have to accept things the way they are, and I can always make them better. Creativity is part of every step of that process.
All right, so your Maker Monday challenge is going to be redesign a lab coat, and most of you have a copy. We did run out, so if you didn't, we can give you a full-size sheet of paper, and you can just kind of sketch out the front and back of a lab coat. And we want to give you some time to redesign a lab coat that you think would help someone in their career. So it might be helpful if you think about what kind of scientist you're going to design for, because it's definitely better and you're going to hit your target audience if you have someone in mind who you're designing for. And think about like what functionality might that scientist need, what would you add to it, and then also think about colors that you may want to add as well. The standard white lab coat does not inspire much joy when I look at it, so it may be one that you want to consider how you might inspire some joy. And if you just feel like you need actual markers to do that, I did bring some, so I'll go get them out of my bag, and if you're one of those and want a marker, just wave at me, I'll bring you some. But we're going to give you some time to redesign and create the lab coat of the future. And you can work with your friends. It's impressive how many of you brought your own markers. Don't forget about the back side of that lab coat. So if you turn that page over, you can decorate the back side and improve it as well. no pressure, but in 1 minute, you're going to share with someone around you. All right, so I know we don't have our finished product, and I would love to actually prototype and build, but I don't have a traveling suitcase that big to bring all of the things. But I do want you to find someone to share. Let them know who you had in mind when you were designing your lab coat, and then some features that you decided to include to reinvent the lab coat of the future. So go ahead, find a friend. Make sure you share airtime, so talk and then take turns listening as well.
I was thinking of maybe like a teacher, so has a GoPro.
All right, well, thank you for being willing to share. There was definitely some enthusiasm and maybe a little bit of giggling about some of the features that you included in there. But a lot of times we focus too much on the product and not enough about the process. So it's okay if you wanted to have a bacon dispenser on your lab coat if you're a vet. And it may not be a realistic thing, but this thing about the process and really thinking about designing for somebody with that audience in mind. And it's okay if we don't get to prototype in all of this, but this gets some ideas for how to make something for someone else that serves a purpose. So on Maker Monday, it's a variety depending on the weeks. Some of the weeks are thematic. Some are centered around a particular person. Some are centered around a particular week that is being celebrated, like Construction Week. So there's a variety of topics that are out there. Maker Monday is all about them creating something. Some are a little bit more, require more resources, and so there might be a little bit more prep work, but most of it should be usable with materials found around a home. So that way it isn't something that requires you to go purchase a lot of items. You should be able to find the materials around the house because they are designed for at-home learning as well. So it shouldn't be a big cost to do these, but there are a variety of what these can look like. And the whole idea is getting kids making and creating and getting into that maker mindset. If you're willing, I am going to challenge you throughout to post on social media, whether that social media is Facebook, Twitter, Insta, TikTok, whatever's your jam for social media. I know it varies depending on what generation you are. But if you would post hashtag Maker Monday TN and hashtag TN STEM, those are the first one is the hashtag for the resource hub. The second one is the hashtag for our conference. But just to get it out there and share what you've done, don't be shy if it's not a finished product, but it does help us celebrate that Maker Monday mindset.
So the next journey in this week is Wonder Wednesday. And we all know our kids are extremely curious. They have a lot of questions. They grapple with a lot of different concepts. And so that's the purpose of Wonder Wednesday, is an opportunity for them to ask questions and then go research and look for the answers themselves. So Wonderopolis is a big resource that you will see in probably a lot of the different weeks that were created. It's a great website for your kids to go on and research if they have questions. And so the questions, so if you want, you can go visit Wonderopolis because we can work through this. Marie Curie is a Nobel Peace Prize winner in physics and chemistry. And she's an amazing scientist. And like we said earlier, the weeks can be thematic. They can be based on a person. And so this one was on her. So some questions. You may not want to give your kids these questions right away. You could give them a picture of her and then let them write questions. So as a scientist, what did she study? How did she get there? What degrees did she have? What education did she have to have?
Or even just look at the picture and be like, what do you notice and what do you wonder? Yeah. And develop some questions before they get into the text. But they provide the questions for you if you don't want to have to think at all.
And sometimes there's videos that are phenomenons or things that don't make sense just to get the kids thinking about it.
So we want to give you just a few moments to go ahead, and if you're on that week, you can look at step 1, and click on the Wonderopolis article and give you just a few minutes to read through there, look at how it's structured, just to see how that resource may work. So we're going to pause, let you click on that. If you aren't able to click on it, if you go to Wonderopolis or Google that, and get to that website and just search for Marie Curie, you'll land on the same place.
Okay, does anybody want to share something that they found out about Marie Curie from the Wonderlopolis that maybe they didn't know or they thought was interesting? Yeah, her notebooks. Thank you.
I saw that there's an immersive reader option, so I feel like that could be really cool to differentiate for your students.
Yes, that's awesome. Okay.
And if they have a really great question that was not answered, they can submit their own questions to possibly be answered, and they can be voted on. So Wonderopolis does pick submitted questions to follow through on as well.
Yeah, so that's one of the purpose of us walking through this is teacher friendly. You can use this if you want to teach about pollinators, which there's a pollinator one in there. So if there's a topic that you're going through, you could incorporate this into your PBL. There's a lot of summer STEM camps coming up. I know that teachers could be teaching. This is a great opening activity for morning time, just letting the kids on Maker Monday, Wednesday. So yes, absolutely, that is a great way to use this resource. The next step we're going to do is step 3, and this one has a quiz at the end of it. So if you want to go to step 3, and you're going to discover what kind of elements that she researched and she discovered, and then there is a quiz to see who can answer the most correct questions at the bottom.
And if you're not feeling like you want to use that much brain power, you can just enjoy the song. That is also an option. If you live in the lower elementary grades and you're all about the songs, there's that option.
As I was about to say, these resources are built for K-12 classrooms. And so if you're a kindergarten or first grade teacher, there's usually an option. But then also you can modify it. Some of them are modified for older grade levels also.
Is it the lovely YouTube ads before you get to the video? And as someone just noted, there's hyperlinks built into the steps, and those are the ones that take you to the linked resources.
The original, so like the Middle Tennessee. Oh.
We're educators. Oh, this website, this comes from TSIN and with a partnership with TDOE. Yeah. Yes, we're utilizing the hub resources made by teachers for teachers and just walking through that resource. Mm-hmm.
So apparently there's 121 questions. So sadly, we don't have time for all of those to be answered. So Wonder Wednesday, the purpose of that is to get your kids thinking, questioning. And so just like with Maker Monday, make sure that if your kids are doing anything for Wonder Wednesday to use hashtag Wonder Wednesday Tennessee or hashtag Tennessee STEM.
So we are going to challenge you again. If you learn something about Marie Curie, get on your social media, whatever's your jam, post something you learned about Marie Curie, and use those hashtags and get that out there about our resource and what you've learned on Wonder Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we're going to try to answer all of those questions before the end. I know, we're trying to entice you with all the excitement before we reveal where you can get everything.
She told me at the beginning, she said, don't give away too much information. I'm like,
And she's trying really hard
Yes,
not to.
I am.
She keeps looking at me like, I know, I'm sorry, I said too much. All right, so we're moved on to Future Friday, and this is all about careers. So Marie Curie studied and earned degrees in both math and science. So if you like to solve problems, test out ideas, or ask questions, a degree in math or science is for you. With these degrees, you can have any number of careers. So today, we're going to spend time exploring careers related to what Marie Curie studied. So on here, on Future Friday, we're not going to assign you a particular step. What we want to do is give you the opportunity to pick either step 1, 2, 3, or 4, and go through and explore the resources they have for Future Friday for careers. So there's lots of different options. They are slightly different in the different steps. So take one that speaks to you. The first one is, step 1 is about math careers. Step 2 is physics. Step 3 is chemistry. And step 4 is radiology focused. So go ahead and just explore what some of those resources might look like. right, I don't want to give you enough time to rethink your future and pick a different career path, so I'm going to stop there. Something that I've noticed a lot in working with STEM, especially with students, if you ask them about a career, they're going to tell you careers they can see. The problem with that is a lot of STEM careers are the invisible careers you're never going to see. So trying to think of ways to make those careers more visible, we're all looking for resources for that. So we do try to find resources that are kid-friendly. I will say it can be a challenge to try to make a math degree seem really exciting for an 8-year-old, but we do try to find different ways of looking at math in different fields and not necessarily just statisticians and other ones that aren't that thrilling for an 8-year-old, even though those are great jobs. So that resource is out there. It's all about the future, the careers, different options, and they all align. So once again, if you're able and willing to post on social media something you learned about a career, go ahead and post that with Future Friday TN or TN STEM. So go ahead and share that out, what you learned about careers in Future Friday related to Marie Curie. Now, a lot of you have already started in your mind thinking, how can I use this? Where can this live in my class? So we are going to give you an opportunity to share all of your ideas. So if you'll go to menti.com, or you should be able to scan the QR code, and we're going to crowdsource the ideas in the room and the ideas of our friends that are live streaming. We want them to participate as well. So go ahead. You can submit multiple responses. So if you're like, oh, I have this idea, oh, but I have another idea, you can submit it as much as you want. We want all of your ideas. We'll wait just another moment to get you guys situated before we go to seeing all of the answers. Anybody not there? All right, we've got all of our ideas scrolling across the screen. Lots of morning work options. Oh, I love the idea of family involvement. Yes, warm-ups to a lesson extensions. Somebody's taken Future Friday a step further with community partners.
RTI time for students that need extra, like PBL work, extension, gifted students.
Ooh, inside recess. That might become too popular. So thank you for sharing your ideas. There's plenty of more that we could think of on how we possibly could use this resource. So hopefully you got ideas, and we're going to share some that we had in our mind of how we could possibly use the resource.
So ideas for use, y'all had a lot of really good ones, and we may cover some of those. But the cool thing about using Maker Monday, Wonder Wednesday, and Future Friday is it can also align with the STEM designation. So in STEM designation, there's the curriculum and instruction section. And so you'll notice the 2.2 out here, Maker Monday, is design challenges. So that falls underneath of the rubric submitting lesson plans or student projects that go through different she switched it on me, engineering process. So 2.2 is the engineering process and how your kids go through that engineering process of make it better. And so that's the purpose of Maker Monday. Wonder Wednesday, those inquiry lessons. 2.1 on the rubric is project-based learning. And so all throughout your project-based learning unit, having different ideas for them, questioning, researching, kind of taking ownership of their own learning. Future Fridays, career air awareness, that falls under attribute 2.4, which is careers. So a lot of y'all said you do career Fridays or you do career expos. So this is a great way. If you're looking for a certain career, you could go to Future Friday and you could look at the links and the ideas that are there.
And another thing to consider, sometimes our community partners aren't familiar with speaking to children who are 30 to 40 years younger than them. And so it might give them an activity or a starting point in conversations with how to interact with the age group that they're going to have in front of them. It could be a scaffold for that piece of getting your community partner familiar with how to interact with that particular age group.
So another way is resources for the use with existing curriculum. So for example, I was working on water conservation with my third graders last week. And my team was like, my kids are just not understanding water and water being invisible. And so I went to the water conservation section in the hub and I pulled some of those videos that are linked in there and let my kids watch them and use them. So these resources, you don't have to use them Monday through Friday. You can pull some of the resources to help you teach that topic or something that they're struggling with. Enrichment opportunities, that covers 2.7 in the STEM designation also, which is enrichment learning. So these would be we have an after-school program and there's a STEM class with it. So the STEM teacher for that could pull these lesson plans. Those are usually our high school kids, our college kids in Murfreesboro, and so this is a lesson plan, a template that they could use that would help them, and also it's great for our kids. And that's the same thing with before and after clubs and schools. And then at-home extension for learning, like we've said, these resources were created by teachers for students and to be able to do them at home. And so a lot of the things that are readily available, you probably have in your classroom also.
And not only are these aligned with the STEM designation rubric, they've also gone back and started adding the UN Sustainability Development Goals as well. So if that is something that you do at your school or if you're just curious about, they are starting to include those in the weeks so that way you know where those match up. Now, we're to the end, but I know there was lots of questions about certain things, so I want to make sure we answer all of the questions. They're not necessarily posted, like every Monday they're not posting a new one. These kind of come out in batches when the work is done. But there is a index that you can go to right now and see all of the ones that have already been created. So if you go to tsin.org, there's a resource tab. Underneath the resource tab, there's one that says the STEAM Hub. And in the STEAM Hub, the very first one should be the index, and that's going to be the user-friendly way to get what you want because it's by alphabetical order, and you can see all of them at one time. So if you go to tsin.org, resources, STEAM Hub, index, you're going to find all the ones that you want to find, and those are the ones that are created. Now, if you're like, wow, I really want this and I want more, sorry, Misty, I'm about to put you on the spot, but Misty Brown at TSIN would be the person to say, yes, we want more of these. And we share with her how you might want to use them. She's the point of contact for the STEAM Hub with TSIN. So if you want more, just let Misty know. But those that are already created are out there. And hopefully you're walking away today with some more resources that you can take back and immediately use. And then Abbey and I are willing and happy to connect and think through ideas how you could possibly use it. Or if you just want to talk STEM stuff, Abbey and I love to talk STEM stuff. So thank you for making it all the way to the end today, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Questions too. We'll take questions.
Sorry, I cut off the question part. If you had a question, hang around, we'll talk.